Hi, my name is Amal Hicham, and I'm doing this video because I have a problem that I can't resolve by myself. The problem began when I wanted to talk to the press about a big company here in Canada, Quebecor, that was founded by the father of the leader opposition Pierre Karl Péladeau, about a well-known personality here in Canada, Mitsou Gelinas, and about hacking problems. Since the day I wanted to talk to the press, I was intimidated, my sister and me. I was prevented from traveling to talk to journalists, and now the problem has become so bigger that I need the support of the public. My email address is contactamalhicham@gmail.com. If you have advice, if you know way that can help me to resolve this problem, please write me at this email. I will tell you what happened. I was working on a project, my sister and me. I live in Canada and my sister lives in France. And I want to see Mitsou Gelinas and her husband, Johan Martin. I showed them my project. They liked it a lot. And there was an exchange of emails between us. After that, Mitsou Gelinas decided to do a show TV with Quebecor. And when we saw the show TV, my sister and me, I wrote an email to Mitsou Gelinas. I CC'd Quebecor, and I told them that the concept of the TV show was taken from a part of the concept that I presented to Mitsou Gelinas and to her husband. Quebecor answered me in a letter saying that the concept is Quebecor's concept, and the lawyer of Mitsou Gelinas answered me too. After this email exchange, I never contacted neither Mitsou Gelinas nor Quebecor. In October 2013, I was working with my sister on our project, and we discovered that when we were discussing some aspects of our projects, some similar subjects were written in the Facebook of the TV show of Quebecor, the one that Mitsou Gelinas was doing. So then we discovered that our computers were hacked, that my cell phone was hacked, our emails were hacked. So I went to the police and I told them what was happening, but they didn't do any investigation. So my sister contacted some journalists in France to tell them what was happening. In this period, I began to be followed by some people outside. So this really frightened me. I went to the police again, and they didn't do anything. And the same thing will happen after to my sister, who will be followed by people she doesn't know, especially during the time when we wanted to make this story public. I went to talk to my husband. Now we are in divorce proceedings. I told him that my emails were hacked, and he answered, he said to me, "It's between you and them, you don't meddle me in this." So I decided to go to France and to talk to reporters. So the day I was going to France, I was going to the airport, my husband called the police, and he told them that I have a mental problem. And as I saw in the police reports after, he told them too that I received a letter from Quebecor because I was allegedly harassing Mitsou Gelinas, which is not true, and my husband knows it's not true. He knows that I don't have a mental problem. I have proofs that he knows that because I recorded him when he was talking to me in the phone. He told me a lot of times that I don't have a mental problem, that he knows about the hacking problems. And he wrote manually a letter when he said that my wife doesn't have any mental problem and I will never threaten her by saying that. So my husband knows that I don't have a mental problem. He called the police. He told them that I have a mental problem. The police came. They called an ambulance. And the paramedic examined me and said that I don't have any problem, but a policeman insisted to take me to the hospital. So they imposed to me to go into the ambulance, and I had to go to the hospital, to the psychiatric hospital. and this is against the law. You can't force someone without any reason to go to a psychiatric hospital. When I arrived there was a nurse specialized in mental health. So she talked to me and she did an excellent report. She said that I didn't have any problem and she wanted to let me go. My husband came and the policeman, and they insisted that I was kept there against my will. So I was locked up in a room with other patients for the night, and the day after, my husband came and took me. So we went to the home, and the day after, I wanted to go outside to work on my project, and my husband didn't let me go outside. So the police was called, and it's the only time when the police tried to protect me. So they told my husband that he doesn't have the right to contact me until the complaint go before the court. And during the time he wasn't at home, I was with my mom and with my children. A lot of things happened. My document project, someone touched them. We found them scattered everywhere. After that, my key USB were taken from my home. Someone touched the doors. My mom was really terrified. After that, my husband came back at home. The tribunal didn't do anything. The complaint was not taken. The charges were dropped. So he came back at home, and I discovered that he went to the bank and he forged my signature in the bank, in a document for the bank and in a document for federal department. I went to see a reporter in Canada and I told her about what was happening. So she agreed to publish my story by changing the names. We began writing the articles and I gave her the proofs of what I was saying. So I gave her proofs that I was hacked, my emails were hacked, and I showed her documents showing the similarities between what we were saying, me and my sister, privately in the phone, and what was Mitsou Gelinas writing in her Facebook and in her Twitter. Sometimes I talk with my sister in the phone and the same sentence was written after that by Mitsou Gelinas in her Twitter and in her Facebook. So I showed her the similarities, and when I gave her these documents, the internet website of the journal was hacked. In the meantime, I wasn't feeling very well. I was vomiting a lot. One time, I felt totally drugged. I'm at home. I couldn't move. After that, I called the police again, and I explained what was happening. And even if I had evidence of what was I saying, for example, I said to a policeman that I wanted to travel to Paris, but the police prevent me from doing so. So he wrote, Madame Amal Hicham is talking about a travel to Paris. And after that he said, which led me think that this is a mental problem. And it's the police who prevented me. They have the evidence of that. I have the evidence that I wanted to travel to Paris. But for no reason, when I wanted to talk about this problem and about Quebecor, this is what they wrote. So I couldn't call the police anymore. I didn't feel protected. After that, my husband threatened me. I did a complaint to the police ethics and I told them everything that was going on. They answered me. They told me that they will give me a conciliation date. And usually a conciliation date, you have to do it in 45 days. Now there have been months that the delay has expired. And even I write them emails, I'm telling them what happened. They don't answer me. So after my husband threatened me, and after he came with the fraud story, he called the police and he began telling me contradictory things. He told me that it was my fault if the fraud happened. The police called me and they told me after that by email things that I didn't say. So he came with this fraud story. He told me it was my fault. And before that, he was threatening me. I didn't feel secure. I decided to go to France to be with my sister and to document what was happening so that I could send that to people in charge and to make known that to the public so that I am protected. So I went to France. I wrote a letter to some MP, to Canadian departments, to some organizations. And during this time, my husband filed for divorce, and he asked to have the custody of my children and to have the house. So I was afraid to lose my children. So I did a video that I made public. I talked about my story. So at least I will have a little protection because the public knew what was happening, and they came back to Canada. So here's what will happen. So first, the police didn't let me travel. They took me to the hospital against my will. After that, my husband threatened me. So a lot of things happened. And now what I did is, before going back to Canada, I contacted a lawyer. And this lawyer didn't do anything to defend my interests. Not only that, but when I asked him to give me the documents that was put by my husband in the divorce file, which is my right to have, my own lawyer didn't want to give them to me. So the first lawyer did things against the ethics of the lawyers. And so I took a second lawyer, and the same thing will happen. So the second lawyer, she wanted me, she wanted to talk about because my husband, he offered me a settlement for the divorce so that we will sign rapidly and finish everything. But this settlement contained a lot of false information and errors, and some important information was missing. So I didn't want to accept this settlement. So when I took the second lawyer, she wanted to talk about the settlement. I didn't want to. She didn't do anything to protect my interests. Even if I asked her, I gave her all the information that was needed. And I discovered after that she gave confidential information about me to the lawyer of my husband. So after the two lawyers did things against the lawyer's ethics, I decided to represent myself. So now there was the problem with the police ethics, the lawyers who were supposed to defend me. So now I decide to represent myself. So here is what will happen. The first time when I came back to Canada, I had an audience in the tribunal. At this time, I still have my second lawyer. The judge that was presiding the audience was Suzanne Tessier. I just came back 2 days before, and she decided to give the house to my husband. Even if I didn't had anywhere to go, I had to go to a women's shelter. So she decided to go to give the house to my husband, and decided not to decide about the custody of the children. This happened the 17th of April. 2 days before, because my lawyer asked me to do so, to contact my husband, I contacted my husband. I was still in France. I told him I'm coming back. He told me, and I recorded him, you come here, we will have the half the custody of the children. I know that you don't have any mental problem. I know that you had hacking, you suffered from hacking, and I can write it, I can say it again if you want to. So you come here and we will do a settlement. So when I came back, I discovered that he went to the tribunal and said that I have mental problem and that I wasn't fit to have the children. So when I asked him after that why he did that, he said to me, it's my lawyer who told me to do so that you do a settlement, and because you are the one doing the complaint. So the reason why he did that, he said to the tribunal that I have a mental problem, is to make me do a settlement and to prevent me from doing complaints. So when he did this to the tribunal, it's after that we went before the judge, Suzanne Tessier, and she said that he could have the house and I had to go to a shelter. So after that, I rent an apartment, and with the help of some people, I furnished it. I didn't have any work because there was cutbacks in the government and I lost my work. And when I decided to represent myself, what I did is I learned about all the articles of laws that were pertinent for my case. I prepared a request, and I went with this request to the tribunal. So I said everything that happened, why I went from the house, that my husband was saying that I have a mental problem, that I have proofs that he's lying, that he have made perjuries, that he pressured me to accept the settlement, that there was false information in the divorce that was filed from him, that there was an error in it that has to be changed. So I explained everything, how the police didn't do anything even if he forged my signature, that the police ethics knew, and the police knew about the illegal things he was doing, and no investigation has been made, etc. So I put this request in the tribunal, and when I put these requests, my husband's lawyer was in vacation, so there was another lawyer that replaced her. And then we went before the judge, Karl Péladeau. So that was the second time I went to the tribunal. There was, from April to the end of August, there were 4 audiences. One was presided by the judge, Karl Péladeau, and 3 were presided by the judge, Suzanne Tessier. So the second time, I went before the judge, Karl Péladeau. She looks at my request, she accepted all of them, and because there were a lot of things, what she asked us to do is to do a timetable. So she asked the lawyer of my husband to prepare a timetable, to send it to me, and that I have to answer her, to propose my timetable, and if we agree, it would be okay. If we don't agree, we had to go before the court the 20th of August, and it would be the tribunal who will decide what timetable they will use. So this is what happened the 9th of July before the judge, Karl Péladeau. So she decided that the tribunal will hear all my requests, and we have to do a schedule for them. A few weeks after, my husband's lawyer sent me a request, and when she sent me this request and I looked at it, I couldn't believe my eyes, because once again they were saying that I have a mental problem, but there were so much lies in it that I was asking myself, how could my husband write these lies and signed it? Because when you put things in the tribunal, you signed it, you asserment it, and if you lie to the tribunal, it's a perjury. So how could he do all these lies and give it to the tribunal? So they sent me these requests, and the 6th of August, the tribunal has to hear it. I couldn't attend, and this day, the 6th of August, it was the judge, Suzanne Tessier, who presided the audience. So she accepted the request of my husband, and she decided that this request will be heard the same day that my requests have to be heard, the 20th of August. After that, after a few days, I went to the tribunal. I wanted to look at my file. I didn't find my file. So one employee in the tribunal said to me, the judge Suzanne Tessier took your file. And I asked why, and she said to me, she decided that she will be the one managing your file, supervising your file. So usually in the law, a judge has not the right to choose the file he will supervise. And because otherwise it would not be fair. So I discovered that it will be Suzanne Tessier who will preside the hearing of the 20th of August. So I sent an email before the audience to my sister, email that proves that I knew before the audience that it will be the judge Suzanne Tessier that will preside my case, and that they said to me that the judge Suzanne Tessier took my file and decided that she will be the one presiding it. And in the family matters, as we ask in the lot of Quebec tribunals, because it's the beginning of the divorce process. So in the family matters, in the beginning, What happens is that the judges know the same day what files they will have. They don't know it before. It's the same day. And they don't have the right to go and choose a file and choose what file they will preside. So when I went to 20th of August, it was just Judge Suzanne Tessier who was presiding the file. So it was the third time she presided a hearing. So here's what happens that day. First, we have to talk about the timetable, as the Judge Carole Terrien before ordered, to hear my requests. And there was a lot of difference between the timetable of my husband's lawyer and the timetable I proposed. So the husband's lawyer didn't put in the timetable a lot of things, like for example, illegal things that my husband did. She didn't talk about them, even if they were in my requests. And there was a disagreement about a very important date, which is the date of the beginning of the divorce. Because I received the signification of the divorce, like I received the divorce the 30th of January, le 30 janvier, the 30th of January. And when I wanted to have the documents, because they say if you want the documents, you ask for them, my husband's lawyer didn't want to give them to me. My own lawyer didn't want to give them to me. And I had to ask le barreau des avocats, the persons in charge of the lawyers, to have these documents. And I received the documents the 1st of April. And when I received the documents, the 1st of April, I found a document in it that the date of the documents was the 3rd of February. That means that the documents I received the 1st of April could not be exactly the same that the document attached to the divorce request that was sent to me the 30th of January. So I was saying that the beginning of the divorce was the 30th of January, and my husband's lawyer said it was the 11th of February. So the Judge Suzanne Tessier said to me, the beginning of the divorce is the 11th of February. So I said, no, Madame la Juge, the beginning is the 30th of January because this is the date I received the divorce request. So she didn't like it, and she said, if we insist on the dates, I will not do the timetable. So that was the reason the timetable was not done, and my requests were not heard because I said the true date. After that, there was another request that I have put. It wasn't the Judge Suzanne Tessier didn't went through it. And this day, the 20th of August, this is what Suzanne Tessier decided. First, she decided that we will have shared custody of a part of our children, not all the children, a shared custody. She decided that my husband can stay in the house, that he will have the use of the house. And then she decided that we will do a psychosocial evaluation. So I said, can I have time to know what the psychosocial evaluation is? And she said to me that we will do it. And I said, so is it a good thing? Because I knew a little thing about it, but not a lot. She said it's good for the judge to have a report from the experts. So I said, okay, you do, if it's good, you do what's good. And then my husband's lawyer said, oh, we'll have to do it right away because we want the report to be ready quickly. So when the audience finished, my husband's lawyer had a form in her hand. She went right away to the place when we give the document. She signed it. She gave it to me to sign it. And I looked at the document and I saw that the consentment of the parties is requested. So I said, I want to think about it. And I asked the Judge Suzanne Tessier. She told me, no, you have to sign it. So I went back. The lawyer was insisting. She even wrote herself the information, like my name and everything. She gave me the document. So I signed the consentment for evaluation, psychosocial evaluation. When I went home, I looked at the articles of the law and I found that the Article 33 of the Code of Procedure of Civil Procedure say that the judge cannot give a psychosocial evaluation if it's not pertinent, and he has to have the consentment of the parties. There is some exception, like sexual abuse, which is not the case, so the consentment of the parties is necessary. And what I found is that when you do a psychosocial expertise, the expert can go through the documents you have, your medical documents, your police reports, can have the testimonies of the people you know. And the problem that's in my case is that first my husband lied to the police, so there is false information about me in the reports that I have a mental problem. I was taken against my will in a hospital for no reason. He said, I know that he said to my entourage that I was harassing Mitsou Gelinas and that I have problems, etc. So what will happen? And during this time, the police didn't do anything against the illegal activities of my husband. The police ethics didn't do any investigation. So no investigation was done to correct all the false information that I have in all the reports. So if an expert go and take the testimonies of the people that my husband know, of the police reports, of the file saying that I was in a psychiatric hospital, the risk is that I could have, it could say about me that I have a problem. And what I found, psychosocial evaluation is the beginning of a process that can lead to curatorship. That means that you can lose all your rights and you can't have any rights after that, because it's the government or someone who take care of all the things you do. So my question is, how come the judge Suzanne Tessier took my file and decided that she will be the one presiding it? Why did the judge Suzanne Tessier make pressure on me to sign this expertise? Why did the lawyer make pressure on me to sign the expertise? While that Judge Suzanne Tessier knows that, in my case, there was a lot of false information about me in all of the reports, and during the hearing, she didn't hear anything about this evidence. I showed her a document that was proving that my husband was lying. She didn't look at it. So why was this done? And there is another problem, is that now I am protected by the Article 33, because it says that the consentment of the parties is important, is required. But in a few weeks, the code of the civil procedure in Canada will change. And then there is the article, I think 425, who says that a judge can decide that psychosocial expertise can be done, even if the parties don't want to. So this is where I am at now. I ask for a retractation of the judgment, but I don't know what will happen, because the law was violated in my case so many times, and because from the day I wanted to talk to the press, a lot of things were done to make appear, to make believe that I have a mental problem. So the questions that arise are, how come there was no investigation about the illegal activities of my husband? And because the police didn't do anything, I went a few days ago to the tribunal, and I did a complaint against the forgery of my signature, against the perjuries he has done. I gave documents proving the forgery to a magistrate there, a judge of peace, Madame Brigitte Massé. So I hope now that an investigation will be done about what my husband has done. Why there was no investigation about the hacking that I suffered from my sister and me? And this hacking was really regular, and a lot of things happen. For example, we have video proving that the Gmail of Google was hacked. Like, we have a video showing that someone is hacking my emails in Gmail, and the contents of the emails are changing. So someone who is capable of going into the emails like this, to hack the emails, to change the contents, it is really it's criminal infraction, and the police has to go an investigation in this, because if someone can go to your email, they can know everything you're doing. You can be after that intimidated. You can be I don't know, like you can have, like, your private life is known. So a lot of hacking actions happened in our case, and we have proofs of that. So why there was no investigation about the hacking? Why there was no investigation about the illegal actions of my husband? How can my husband say all this false information to the police, and the police write it without any evidence? And in the first report, only what my husband said was written. Everything I said to the police, nothing was written. All the things I said about Mitsou Gelinas, Quebecor, the hacking, nothing was written. How come there are similarities between what we are saying, my sister and me, and what Mitsou Gelinas is writing in her Facebook? How come they are the same, sometimes the same sentences written? So there are a lot of problems that happen. And now, because I discovered that the Judge Suzanne Tessier took my file and decided that she will be the one presiding it, and that she pressured me on doing evaluation, psychosocial evaluation that can lead to very bad conclusions in my case. Because now they can say, with all the false information that they find, the experts can conclude that I have a mental problem, that I have to go to a psychiatric establishment, my rights can be taken from me. And all this began the day I wanted to talk to the press about the hacking and about Quebecor and about Mitsou Gelinas. So now I'm asking for the support of the public. I don't know what will happen now. I don't know if I can accused of court contempt because I refused the psychosocial evaluation, even if I still have the right to do it, because the article still allow me, the law articles still allow me to do that, but it will change in a few weeks, as I said. I don't know if there can be an order from the tribunal to tell me not to talk about this anymore. I have no idea what can happen. So I really, really need your support, because I can't resolve this problem by myself. I did everything. I contacted the police. I explained what my problems to the police, to the police ethics, to the tribunal. I went and I looked and did research in all the articles of the laws. I tried every time I was saying something to support it by a law article.